Now coming to the last part of the chapter, that is the historiography in the post-independence era, that is after Indian independence, what was the position or importance of historiography. Now after independence, the government changed, the political views changed, the economy changed, because now we would have some different type of industries, our own science and technology. And that is why now the historians got many different fields, like writing about the various communities, the sciences, the economic systems, the political ideologies, and also the cultural aspects. Mainly if we see after the independence, there were three main ideas. The historiography was influenced by three main ideas. There were three main ways in which a historian could proceed. One was using the Marxist idea known as the Marxist history. Second was the subaltern history, taking that idea of what is subaltern, and third was feminist. I will explain one by one. First one, Marxist history. The Marxist history was greatly influenced by the German economist historian Karl Marx. Karl Marx believed that the government should treat all the citizens equal. For example, if the entire country produces 1 lakh ton of wheat, it must be divided by the number of population, and everyone should get the equal quantity. In practice, this doesn't happen. Like here, suppose 10 lakh of wheat comes over here in India, then the rich one will purchase more. Who has money, they will buy. How much they can buy, according to their capacity, they are going to purchase. But there it doesn't matter. Whether you have money or you don't have money, whether you are rich or you are poor, you are getting salary, what is your salary, what is your post, everybody will get equal. If there is a family of 2 children and there is another family of 5 children, 2 children family will get a 2 BHK, they will get a bigger one, say 4 BHK. And this was the duty of the government to provide. So government has to treat everyone equal, and all the resources of the country should be equally divided into every individual. Okay, so this was his view. And the historians who followed, who were influenced by him, they were writing the Marxist history. And their concern was mainly the means of production, modes of production, and the industrial relations. Because you have to produce, if you have to provide it to everyone, and that to those who don't have money, them also you have to provide. And that is why these historians, now their work was, when they were writing, they had to analyze that because of this mode of operation, how much impact it is making on the social events, the significance, what it is there of this kind of act. Because now when we in India, there is lot of class difference. Okay, now how it will be if on a train, the same bogie, the same kind of facilities, you have lower class people and a higher class people together, they're getting the same amenities. So how does that affect the social event? They started writing on that, how it was affecting the people. Now they also studied the transitions within the caste system. They studied the caste system in detail, how these caste systems developed and how this went on changing. And among them, the most notable Indian historian who adopted the Marxist ideology framework was Damodar Kosambi. His full name was Damodar Dharmanand Kosambi. Then we had Comrade Shripad Amrut Dange, Ram Sharan Sharma, Comrade Sharad Patil. They all have contributed in this field. Now, Comrade Dange was one of the founder members of the Indian Communist Party. Now, this party was formed with the same ideologies, that everything of the government should be equally distributed among all the people. Primitive Communism to Slavery was a book written by him which represents the Marxist historiography. Next we come to the subaltern history. Now what is the meaning of sub? Sub means something which is below the level, subdivision. Main division you have, then you have subdivision. Now you know that Bombay is an urban city. Now what are we known as? Suburbans or suburbs. Why? Because we are lower to them in the economic strata and everything. The same way sub means something which is down. So subaltern history means writing about those people who belong to the down class. Normally the history was written about the kings and emperors, but here subaltern history means writing about the lower class people. And the seeds of this was in the Marxists, because Marxists also believe that all of them should be equal. There should be no difference. So, and they also said that why to write history only about the rich people and the kings and the emperors? Why not about these people? And over here, the role of one Italian historian, Antonio Gramsci, is very important, because he developed that idea that whenever you want to write history of any place, of any era, you must always begin with the bottommost ranks of the people in the society. In fact, subaltern means only the bottommost ranks. Now, from the bottommost rank, if you want to get information, you want to write about them, you will not get the writings because nobody has written about them. So over there, the folklore, whatever they say you orally, the folk songs, the folk poetries, the folk stories, all these things only can be your sources. And during that time, Ranjit Guha, who was an Indian historian, he played a major role in establishing the subaltern history as an important academic school of historiography. Means in the studies also he put this particular topic, that is subaltern history. However, still we can say that though he was the premium one, the first person who has done that, but still before him also similar thoughts were expressed by Mahatma Jyotirao Phule and Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. They were not historians, they were social workers, but still they also had the same view. Now Mahatma Phule, he wrote a book, Gulamgiri. Gulam means slave, Gulamgiri means slavery. So he wrote a book, Gulamgiri, in which he wrote about the two communities, Shudra and Ati Shudra. Shudra means one who is very down, sabse niche wala, bottom class. And Ati Shudra means below him also. Shudra and Ati Shudra, that is the down class and more below the down class. And he wrote in his book to draw the attention that how the women were being exploited, especially of this down class community. How the Shudras and how the Ati Shudras were being exploited. Exploitation means to make use of someone, okay, to misuse someone. Like if you call somebody in your field for working, let him work full day and night and don't pay him a single rupee, you are exploiting. So, and the term Shudra and Ati Shudra, as I told you, it indicates the bottommost rank in the caste system. After that, now the role of the people belonging to the Dalit caste is very significant in shaping the various culture and political aspects of India. Now, above the Shudra and Ati Shudra, we had the Dalit caste. And Dalit caste, there were many people who had done significant work for the India or in the society, but nobody wrote anything about them. Nobody acknowledged them at all in any of their book. Neither the colonial historians, neither the nationalistic historians. Then there was Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. He himself belonged to the Dalit caste and he wrote a book, Who Were the Shudras, and one more book, The Untouchables, in which he wrote the plight of these people, how these people were exploited by the people of the upper caste. Now last, coming to the feminist history, as the name suggests, history about women. Now there were so many male scholars who had written so many things, but it was written only about the male. Nothing was written about the woman. Now we will see more about it in the next video.